Hello dear traders, welcome to the weekly review of Trading Hero portfolios. This week, 9 out of 10 portfolios brought us a profit. 5K portfolio in the first version brought us 0.3% profit, 5K portfolio in the second version brought us minus 0.2%, 5K portfolio in the third version didn't bring us any profit because we haven't closed any trades yet, 10K portfolio brought us 0.1% profit, 10K portfolio in the second version also 0.1% profit, 10K portfolio in the third version 0.3% profit, 20K portfolio 0.17% profit, 50K portfolio 0.2% profit, 100K portfolio 0.1% profit, and 200K portfolio 0.1% profit. Let's switch to the MetaTrader platform and check our trades starting from the first currency pair, Australian dollar against the Canadian dollar. We highlighted the trading area of the previous week with a gray rectangle where each vertical line separates one trading day. Speaking about the technical picture, you can see that the market is in a strong uptrend, and we accelerated this movement and broke through the previous resistance levels that we had during the previous weeks, and we had 4 consecutive days of growth this week. Only on Friday we corrected a little bit. This is the main reason why we haven't earned a lot of money, because we were accumulating these positions, and hopefully market will start reversing the next week and we're gonna close them with a profit. If we check the broader picture, you can see that market broke through the previous local highs, and we were expecting for the market to break them because we had this hidden uptrend where the buyers were pushing the price towards this resistance level for a couple of months. But still, this kind of moment was very strong, and if we switch to the daily time frame, we can see that we broke through several resistance levels and we have the highest price in 2025. We broke the maximum of March, so now we are close to the prices that we have in October 2024. Considering the strength of this moment, and we were growing for 5 days in a row, and we also can see the candles with bodies of 0.6% and 0.8% with no correction. For this currency pair, this kind of movement is quite strong, so the market is really very overbought, and we expect for it to correct at the beginning of the next week, so we'll be able to close all the trades with a profit. If not, we still have a very strong resistance level here, so even if market continues its movement, I don't think it will be the same as we saw the previous week. We're gonna have some correction waves and we'll be able to close our trades somewhere in this range if the market continues its growth. But as for me, the main scenario is consolidation starting from Monday. The next currency pair is Aussie and ZD. Here we made some profit, $275, because we closed the selling grids that we were gaining during 2 previous weeks on the correction that we had on Monday. And then the market resumed its growth, and now we can see that we broke the previous local highs and ended this week with the consolidation above these levels. We still have some trades from the previous weeks that we hold, and we need to get a correction to close them, but in this case the correction can be even lower than the previous support levels. I think it will be enough for us to get to the middle of this channel, because we opened extra trades on this market movement on Friday, so we're going to close all the trades with a profit somewhere in the middle of this channel. On a daily time frame, you can see that the price reached the previous local highs that we saw in January 2025 and also November and June 2024. So we can expect that the market will break these levels, because we were pushing towards them for quite a long time, but I don't think that we're gonna reach the previous resistance level, and I think that there will be a moment for 2, 3, 500 pips higher than the previous highs, and then we're gonna see the correction that will allow us to close all the trades with a profit. The next currency pair is Aussie USD. Here you can see that we also have a strong uptrend. We closed a couple of trades from the previous week and we continue gaining our selling trades. the profit of this week amounted to $84, and on the daily time frame you can see that we have the development of this uptrend. If you remember, firstly we were considering this trend line as a major market support level, and when it was broken we even thought that the market will go downward, but now we can see that the previous local high was broken, so these kind of movements, they are not relevant anymore, and we can speak about this movement as about the strong uptrend. Even if we exclude this situation, it changes nothing actually. So we have this movement, and we reached also the highest points in 2025, and we are close to the levels of November 2024. So here the scenario is quite similar. We can see that market is overheated, so I think we're going to meet the correction in the following week. The next currency pair is Euro GBP. Here you can see that the market is in a consolidation inside the bigger consolidation. We closed one trade from the previous week. The profit amounted to $42, and on a daily time frame we also see nothing interesting. We have this support and resistance levels. If we check the movement inside of this corridor, we can see that still sellers are pushing the market towards the support levels, but still it's too early to say about the downtrend because we have not broken the previous support levels or the general support level as well. The next currency pair is GBP USD, and here you can see that the market unfortunately broke the previous resistance level and started consolidating above it. But from the good news is that we have another resistance level that the price tried to break, and we had two attempts. The first was on Tuesday and the second was on Thursday, and we can see that on Thursday we didn't reach the previous highs, so still this level is strong, but honestly we can see that there is a hidden uptrend. If we exclude this part of market movement, we can see that there is a small uptrend within this moment. So that's why the probability of hitting these local highs is still high. The profit of this week amounted to $177, and on the daily time frame we also can see that the market is close to the previous resistance levels, and I think that there is a high chance that these levels will be broken, and everything depends on the market movement afterwards. We all know that the chances that the Fed will decrease the interest rates in September are quite high, so I think when it happens it will not be an additional surprise to market. So technically speaking we're still okay because we are inside this corridor, but fundamentally speaking we still have this pressure from macroeconomical statistics. So let's see how it goes at the beginning of the next week, and let's move to the next currency pair, which is GBP CAD. Here you can see that we have the continuation of this uptrend. The profit amounted to $47, and on the daily time frame we can see a very strong and very long uptrend, and actually it continues, and the price is pushed towards the previous resistance level. And I think we need to switch to a weekly chart to see the whole picture, and here you can see that we are now on the highest level since 2016, and I think that the nearest resistance level is quite close to the recent prices. Maybe the next goal for the market to test, because if we check the daily time frame we can see this accumulation phase, which often can be ended with an upward impulse, the same way as we saw on Audi CAD when we were consolidating near the previous resistance levels for a couple of months, and then we had this upward impulse. So let's see how it goes, but we still have the capacity to gain more positions on this currency pair. And as for the US dollar against the Canadian dollar, here we can see that the market still remains in a consolidation. That is a part of a bigger consolidation. We haven't closed any trades this week, only opened one additional sell trade. On the daily time frame you can see that we had this consolidation, then we moved to another one, We actually were expecting for the market to grow at least to these levels after they broke this resistance level. But we can see that now economical situation in the US is not in the best shape, so that's why we have these small movements. At least the price is not falling too much, which is also a good sign, but I think that we still have the capacity that the market will continue its growth. And the last currency pair for today is New Zealand dollar against the Canadian dollar. The situation is quite similar to AUD/CAD. You can see that we had a consolidation and now we are having this impulse. We closed only a couple of trades. These were the trend following trades, so that's why the profit is not quite big. So we're gaining a lot of sell positions. I hope that we're gonna close these trades the next week and we're gonna get doubled profit. I mean the profit for this week and for the next week as well, because we're gaining these positions for a couple of weeks. On the daily time frame, you can see that the downtrend we previously had, it's obviously over. We had this consolidation at the bottom and then we made this upward impulse. So now we can say that globally we are somewhere in the middle of this consolidation. We have these previous local highs close to our current prices, so even if the market will go upward, we'll still meet the resistance quite close to the current prices, and then we'll go down and we'll be able to close all our trades with a profit. As for the other currency pairs, everything goes more or less according to the plan. Obviously we have this tense situation with GBP USD, but hopefully it will be resolved soon. Thank you for your attention and see you in the next video review.